Going back to our creation story, we have the concept of the twin creators who created all people, all beings, including the Cahuilla people. And that was here in this area. And then after the death of the creator, they migrated around, they say around the continent, some stories say around the world, depositing people's different places. But it was when they came back to this area that they knew they were home. And so, Mount San Jacinto is kind of the center of the Cahuilla world. As I travel around the country or what have you, I always know when I'm home, and usually it's up here in these mountains when I see sight of the mountain, Surrounding Mount San Jacinto, there are a number of tribal villages throughout, going even northern San Diego County all the way up through Salton Sea area over towards the Banning Pass. The Cahuilla people, that was our traditional territories. Oftentimes in the early spring at lower elevations, you had the agave ripening, ready to harvest, one of our food sources. You had the yucca, to harvest. And then you could just follow that up the mountain, and all along you're doing your hunting and things like that. And then when you got up here to this elevation here in Idlewild, usually it was late summer, early fall. That's when the acorns would start to be ready. That's when the hunters would go out and hunt deer and rabbit, bighorn sheep. And so these are, we followed the food source, and it was a sustainable way of living off the land. Survival is not just a hobby, It's not simply an adventure show on your nature channel. It's a way of life. Mount San Jacinto is right in the center of the Cahuilla world, and the main feature here at Idlewild is what they call Tahquitz Rock, right? Or Lily Rock, I think they've also called it. But it's not Tahquitz, it's Tahquish. And he was an early demigod, and he was like the first shaman. Tahquish did some bad things. Even our creator, Luca, did some bad things. And so the rock there, that's the home of Tahquish. And we don't go up there. If you want to take it as metaphor, right? Then those are lessons for survival out in the forest and responsibility and conducting oneself correctly. When you grow up within the tribe, you don't take a class called Cahuilla 101. This is how you just grow up, and you see the actions and the behaviors of your parents and grandparents and other people in the community, and you look to your elders because they have the life experience, right, that you can learn from and learn how to conduct your own life. And so that's kind of how I grew up. Even being an Indian cowboy, I watched my grandpa do it, watched my dad do it, and then when my dad passed, then that was my turn to take over, and that's how we hand down these traditions. So even today, Cahuilla people come up into these mountains to gather and to commune and to, center ourselves, I think. And it may be an organized thing, or it may be just different families coming up. I have a spot up here that I always go to gather acorn. I bring my daughters with me. And I believe that once I'm gone, I think they'll come to that spot, my daughters and their kids, and do the same thing, But it's very hard. It's very hard to be caretakers of the land when we're not allowed to do it. And some of our traditional gathering areas are now posted with no trespassing. And the idea that when we come up in the forest here and we gather, the dominant culture thinks they're just going to take everything, which tells us they don't understand our culture at all. We had our traditional gathering areas that the various clans would come up here and gather. We had no concept of land ownership. The land owns us. And what I mean by that is we have an obligation and responsibility to the land, not to just use it, but to give back to it. And I would challenge anyone watching this video to question their own responsibility and obligation to the land. What are you doing to make things better?